Trust the Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to FrostCast, coming in for episode 77. Our audio is glitchy and weird. I'm going to bring Kingsy in early for the save and make sure everything's going okay.
Hey,
you good?
Ooh. Welcome, everybody.
Hold on. We are not good. I can't hear a damn thing. Take over for a minute.
Okay, I'm glad y'all can make it here for episode 77 of FrostCast. We are happy that you've all made it. And if you haven't been here before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and join our membership. It's only $2, and you get a really cool gift if you do it. Anyways, we're here to talk about a few topics tonight. One that has to go with the documentary that just came out on Netflix. There's a lot going on with that one, with the Stranger Things. And we were looking in there and we've seen some things and we want to talk about it, where it looks like the Duffer Brothers are complete frauds.
Probably.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yes, there we are. Yes, Legal just jumped on the phone with us real quick.
Yep.
And said, check
Allegedly.
it out, guys. You can't say probably. Can't do that kind of thing. Just
That's
wrap
right.
up one more thing over here.
Okay, while he's still getting ready, we were there watching the documentary, and one of the big things we want to talk about is there was a lot of questions going into that finale. One of the big ones: where were the Demogorgons? Where were the Demodogs? Where were the Demobats? Where was the Dema kittens? There was no Dema anywhere on the planet that they live on, and it comes to find out that it was a conscious decision to do it. And it's like they didn't even listen to the other writers in the room.
Dude, I went back and watched the first hour and change of that documentary.
Oh, it is only like an hour
I
and
wanted
6
to get
minutes.
a vibe. 2 hours and 2. It's 2:02. The one on Netflix. 2:02. Strange. Was the One Final Adventure, whatever it's called, was 2 hours, 2 minutes. I caught about an hour of it. And they touched on like 3 or 4 different things, including the one you're talking about right now. And I'm like, wow, you guys were aware of like literally everything that wound up being a giant complaint and literally went the other way from the common sense answer that you should have gone with. Like, it's wild that you picked every decision wrong. Like, you picked every absolute last place horse on the card and went that way. Like, congratulations, guys. They have that one part you just mentioned right now came up about 40 minutes into the documentary, and both of the Duffers and they got another guy that's writing with them. I can't remember his name. They got like 4 or 5 people in the room. Right?
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, wait, how could it be that the kids are all here and they're on the way to the Mind Flayer Spider Castle thing and there's like nothing there? Like, wouldn't they be under attack? Dude, they were even planning, right? They as they talked about it in the documentary, they were planning on having a scene. They had a marker board and everything where like who's where, about so-and-so would be inside trying to unplug the kids. So-and-so would be like outside trying to hold the line so like we could get the kids in and out safely and this and that while Eleven's doing the final battle. Like, you went all that way down the fucking road, right? And then slammed the brakes on and went the other way because the one rando weirdo Kathleen Kennedy looking chick in the room was like, I don't know, boys, I got some demo fatigue. Like, she actually said the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are we listening to her? Why is this a thing? Like, the Demogorgon is your branded mascot for the show. You know what I mean? Like, it's
what started it all.
Right, dude. It's now an iconic piece of cinema history now. Like, that's you're here. You're up there with like the Xenomorph. You're up here with like Jaws and the Predator and Gremlins and shit. Like, you've done it. You did the unthinkable. We've gone 20 odd years without a memorable piece of anything belched out of Hollywood. You guys came up with one, and then you were like, "Nah, dog, we're good. We got fatigue."
Like the Demogorgon's on a minute restriction in the NBA. Like, you only have so many minutes of Demogorgon.
Right, it's a rest episode. Imagine that.
Yeah.
It was a rest episode. And you know, like, they kind of flirted with that a little bit too. They were like, Well, we had that one incredible one shot, at the end of episode 4, where the 6 Demogorgons attack the army base and just wreck shit up, and we didn't want to overdo it. I'm like, did you guys not see the fan response to that particular scene? Like, people actually did enjoy that. You had to roll a natural 1. Fact. Baby.
Yeah,
exactly right.
On their wisdom check.
Right. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's you're looking at numbers that work in your favor. It'd be like if I told you, dude, you have a 99.9% chance of winning $5 billion if you just put all your money on like red 5 at a roulette table, and you're like, nah, I'm black 17. Like, well, no, dude, I just 99.9. Like, just do that thing, please. And they're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, okay, that seems a bit odd. I might have gone a different way with that.
It's a bold choice, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for him.
Right. We should have got that clip ready. Newsflash, it didn't, because I feel like the further we get away from the end of this show, I think like the sentiment is turning. And I don't think I told my stepdaughter today who did like the end. I said red 5 for a reason. Right. I said red 5 for a reason, babe. I see you. My stepdaughter, who liked season 5 and liked the finale, she's a big Sadie Sink fan, likes the character, she likes Nancy and the other females and whatnot. And I said, if you enjoyed season 5, don't watch the documentary, because they also had these other little drops along the way that show you that this was preordained to not go well for them. In their own words, they're already saying to the documentary crew and the crew around them on the film set, oh, well, we did show up and not have an episode 8 finale written. Well, we had the plot points, but we had to write it. And it goes on to feel exactly like Dan and Dave with Game of Thrones. We're like, well, George gave us notes on how the whole book series was going to wrap up. We had to connect the dots. Like, well, you didn't. And did you fail kindergarten, dummy? Like, I don't get it. How did you not connect these dots in a way that was satisfying?
Yeah, the only thing that was planned, from what I heard, is they knew how it was going to end. They knew how it was going to end when they started it.
Yep.
So, and that's probably the reason why that's probably the best scene in the whole finale, is that end where they, put their books up, like saying goodbye to their characters, like it's over, and then going up the stairs and then looking back as the next generation is taken over. I mean,
honest to God, I think you're right. Yeah, keep going, man.
Yeah, that was the best scene in it. And I mean, how brave do you have to be for Netflix? After watching this, you edited this, what's in this documentary, and you still release it to the public. I think it was a CYA situation why they released this. Like, hey, it wasn't us. It wasn't us,
dude. It's astonishing to me, because there's other moments in there, where one of the Duffer Brothers, I'm tracking names as effectively as I could, and they don't look exactly alike, but I don't know one from the other. One of them's like
Ross. That's all I know.
Russ and Matt are the two names. I don't know which one was speaking, right? And the one guy is saying to some of the crew, he's like, we're like 10 years into this, and I used to be able to like bang out 100 pages a day or whatever 10 years ago. But I got 2 kids now, man. I'm tired. I can't do that anymore.
That's
you guys
Matt.
know what that's like? And I'm like, dude, the rest of us have jobs and kids too, but I don't get to go into my job and not do
my job.
And not effectively do my job, because people get hurt, people die. And you know what I mean? So you write your pages, or effectively ghost write with a staff that's going to allow you to give a top-notch product. Yeah. There's no reason for this. I get it. It's hard, dude. It's hard to work on that schedule, but you just do it.
You got to do it. You just got to do it. And the other thing that happens is that Ross was married to another writer who's very successful. They got a divorce here in 2024. And they said a lot of people who know her writing, that you did see a lot of her influence in the beginning of Stranger Things. And now she isn't there. So I think we figured out who the genius behind Stranger Things is.
Possibly. Great memeage. And that's on top of, like, I hadn't heard this before, and for as much time as you and I spend online, I think it's weird that neither of us has ever brought this to the other's attention, that there was some controversy around when the show came out, that the Duffer Brothers may have borrowed this idea from like a college roommate or something like that. It sounded very Wachowski brothers, sisters, whatever, with The Matrix, that it wasn't really their idea, that like they had notes given to them by an accomplished science fiction writer, I think like a novelist, who basically put together the framework for The Matrix and it's obviously taken from a bunch of different inspirations. But like it was her story that became The Matrix that we know. I just thought that sounded really suspicious because I haven't heard that before. But I'm like, all these things coming out now are starting to take some of the luster off a show that, like in 2016 or whenever I got into season 1, was easily my favorite thing going. My favorite new IP thing in genre. And it just doesn't feel like that anymore at all.
It has the same feel as Patrick Rothfuss right now, too, with his 3rd book in his series. A lot of people think that he had a ghostwriter who wrote it all for him. And now that his ghostwriter has passed away, he can't write like him. They said when he released his novellas, it wasn't the same type of tone that the other 2 books were. It was lacking. Which he said,
novellas in the same world, though, right? Like it should have been the same. It wasn't intentionally different.
But they said that the attention to detail and a lot of the poetic language that was in the first 2 books is not matching, and so they think that he doesn't know how to write the 3rd book himself, and that's why we haven't seen it.
I just wanted to grab paper real quick if the Oracle could throw his last comment up there, because I think that's on the money. Kind of like the Marvel stuff, filming movies without a complete script. Yeah, because they even invented that stupid term for it that I heard Kevin Feige throw. It was called plussing. Like that's an industry term or something where like you have a 40-page treatment for like a 90-page or a 90-minute movie, and you just figure it out as you go with a budget of $500 million. Like, how is that the play? How is that a good financial play? How are the bean counters not stopping this? How is this not a thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's wild, dude. But the part that stings, I think, the most about Stranger Things is that it comes out and it feels like it's something that the developers, the Duffer Brothers themselves, have a personal vested interest in this because it's their baby. It's not something they walked into. It's a brand new IP. It's their own sandbox. How do you let it come to this? To do another Theoden quote right there. How did it come to this? Exactly. Right. And regarding Rob, good editor can make it break it out. Dude, facts. Not wrong. Maybe that was his role to go. Maybe.
Yeah. So what I've heard is that his editor is still is there, and when he was talking about that, he was getting ready to release. Like everything was ramping up, and like he was talking about things on his Twitch channel. Like the editor came out and left the notes. Like, we haven't seen a word yet.
Yikes! Imagine getting that comment dropped in your chat when you're like, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah,
I got the 280,000 word draft done.
And then he said he had to disappear for 5 years because he had a mental health issue, but he was still on his Twitch channel every day.
Dude, and again, dude, that's like when Martin doesn't finish Wins a Winner. Spent like 11 years on that one too. He was, I just needed some time to get away. I'm like, get away from what? You're writing other crap in World, you jackass. Like, dude, just turn the focus back. You've lost. It's like you said, this dude lost the plot for his mainline story, and the easier shit is now the spinoff shit. It's easy to now write novellas and history books and things like that than it is to figure out where your cast of 60 main characters is 8 books in,
and 238 name characters.
That's what I'm saying, right? I was being generous with the 60 like mains. Pape says never read the books, won't because of the GRM. That's what I'm saying. It's peas in a pod. It's absolutely peas in a pod there. Yeah, but there's other stuff in that documentary too that just it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth now. If you watched it and if you didn't like the end of Stranger Things like I did, or if maybe you're a little bit more middle of the road like King Z was. Remember, King Z gave the finale and the season, I believe, a 5. 5. That was your overall rating for the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say about 20 minutes into the documentary, just flat out, these are their paraphrasing, but like their exact sentiment here. We got tired of seeing shows that people loved, shows that people got invested in over a decade or multiple seasons. They didn't name any specific. They go, and then totally flub the landing, just totally trip, fall, and stumble. And we knew we had to stick the landing. We knew we had to deliver. We knew we had to wrap everything up. And I had to like shut Netflix off and reload it because I thought Netflix glitched, and they said the opposite of what happened. Because I feel like none of that was the case.
Yeah.
Like, what did you wrap up exactly? Like not a whole lot in my opinion, besides Will is gay. We knew that. 11's gone. We knew that. And Joyce and Hopper are getting married. We knew that. Thanks. Thank you, Captain Obvious. The army's still out there. The Upside Down may be destroyed. It might not be. You didn't wrap up anything. And you certainly didn't stick any kind of landing when the aggregate reviews for the ending of your show are like floating in like the mid 50s. That's not a stuck landing. Just go check Breaking Bad's ending season. You know what I mean? That's a stuck landing.
They left more holes than they had to begin with.
It's like they invited J.J. Abrams over to the writers' room. Like, let's mystery box this, and this, and add a few more holes in this whole thing to make it sound good. No, dude, you're out of time, bro. You're out of time.
You have to think that it was so bad that the fans had to come up with not one, not two, but 4 different theories that there has to be a secret episode because there's no way it could be this bad. They had to take a big hit off the copium pipe and come up. All right, man, this is all fake.
Right. I can imagine fandom just sitting around like a hookah bar, just like totally going to town, like 80s style. Like it's laced with something because you'd need it. Because literally the shittiest AI computer clips that were meant to be taken, not like the funny ones with like Will coming out to in funny different ways, but it did copium pipe, did trademark. Put hey, trademark. That's us. Copyright. Too late. We get a quarter every time somebody says it. Outside of the gag AI reels, like we've seen good AI reels that people are like like entry level AI editing software to do things where they're putting demogorgons and like smaller mind flayers in the background of the rush against the big one in the desert and the abyss to populate the world and make it look like it's this lived in thing and not literally like it's Tatooine with nothing for miles, and like you said, the fan theories that go into those 37 Easter eggs that mean Vecna was really Mike the whole time. Like, no, people put some thought into that shit. All these idiots had to do was collect a third of that shit 2 years ago and panhandle, filter it out, whatever it's called, down to like a couple of core ideas that they could graft onto the known endpoints that you knew they were going to use. That 11 was probably going to disappear because she represents the leaving of magic, like the last unicorn retreating to the woods. She's out of their lives. They're grown up and moved on, putting their toys away. We're going to give Joyce and Hopper the happy ending, and Mike's going to pass the baton down to his sister because the game never stops. Like, you literally could have taken any of the fan ideas and put that with those guideposts and had a banger episode, a banger finale. You didn't do it. You did not do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got a couple. I had a little bit of that hoping that there was something more.
Dude, I know. Dude, me too, bro. I'll admit it.
I wanted
to believe.
Down.
I wanted to X-Files it, dude.
Yeah.
I want to believe. And no alien ship, no nothing. But at the end, and it's because at the end of the day, the adult in you and the business guy in you knows that the accountants would have drawn the line somewhere and be like, nah, Doc, we're not doing it that way.
No, we're not doing
no
it.
Shot. And I knew that, and I bought into that 100% when the price tag for the show came out, and it was like almost Andor amounts of money. Like it was like almost 500 million, 5.25. So it was some stupid ass number. And like, well, I guess when you shoot your whole thing against a green screen, the price adds up.
Yeah.
It really does. So yeah, there's that. But the documentary does give you a little bit of some cool insights. I would recommend watching it. I would tell you to watch it if you get some free time over the weekend, because it does have some nifty behind the scenes thing. It is kind of cool to see the footage of the kids when they were younger, like when they just started out versus who they became later and how the roles adapted. I'll say this for the Duffer Brothers in their defense. People seem to enjoy working with them. Like they seem like they have a very close collaboration with all the actors, the coordinated set members in the different departments and things like that. So it seemed like they were a good time to be around.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did browse it for documentary date, which was the second theory.
Right.
That's something I had to
Somehow.
do with the documentary. And like inside it, we're going to see a movie kind of like Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Right. It was going to be all meta. Like that wasn't. It was actually just a documentary.
It was just a documentary. But I did watch the end of all the different, and that's a series wrap on this person and this person, and watch them give their speeches and stuff like that. So I did stick around, go and watch all of those, and that was a very emotional part. Like it was the end, and watching them. Like I was right when I talked about like the scene with them on the roof.
Last D&D game.
With them on the roof. That was their last day of shooting up for that as well. And then the D&D game was the last thing they shot.
Dude, and you know what? I think that's readily apparent because the only legitimate, honest acting I think we got in the entire season were those two particular scenes. And I wasn't a big fan of the rooftop shit. That just felt like a bunch of the kind of punk, like young adults that I did not like when I was a young adult. Like, you're a little too pompous for me. Like, go be a fucking writer in Boston, Nancy. Nobody cares. Is the kids playing the game and getting tearful when they put their books away legit? Like, and I get it. that's your first big acting role. You're walking away from like a 10-year gig. You're probably really apprehensive. You're moving on from family and friends that you've worked with for so long, and you got to go face the unknown. You get that. And then again, the one that even my 9-year-old knows, like, dude, Dustin and Steve finally having their reconciliation when Dustin breaks down. So you had like 5-10 minutes of legit emotion in 8 episodes. Congratulations. Well, you really nailed it, guys. You really nailed it.
Yeah.
Dumbasses.
And which we can blame on their computer screen. Now, there is a shot of their computer screen in this while they're writing the script for the final one. And there are some questionable tabs open on their computer. And
I didn't see this.
People have zoomed in and they've enhanced it. With the that software you have where you just like enhance and somehow it adds pixels. Yeah. Enhance. And it's like a perfect 4K picture. It doesn't work that way, but they zoomed in on it, and it definitely looks like it's the OpenAI logo right next
Copilot.
to the
yeah,
sitting right there.
Which again, for research purposes, maybe, but again, I would say I feel like AI in like the year that like we've been using it to like Midsummer to do like funky superhero graphics and shit like that. And get some research. So like there are legit uses of the technology.
Oh yeah, there's definitely
and it's improved significantly in like 2 years. So I feel like if these jackasses had just used that, if they had just used OpenAI before shooting like 9 months ago, they'd have got a better thing than they got. Honestly, like I legitimately think it would have been better had they just done that.
So what I think they used it for is that they took the old scripts, put them into zip files, and then used it like, oh, did we do this on this? So it could pull it back up so they would know they forgot what they were.
Tie it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I guess it does feel a little bit like that when you think of how it actually ended. But I can't get over this dude saying that, like, it was probably the harshest part of the documentary is listening to them say, we hate when shows don't end well. We know we have to wrap things up. And I'm like, no. You have to wrap things up in a satisfying way. It's not just enough to be like the end. You know, that's not good enough, guys. It deserves better than a wrap up. Like I think it was Gary at Nerdrotic that said a year or so ago, like after season 4, like kind of elevated interest in the show. He was like, Stranger Things was kind of poised at one point to be like a replacement for Game of Thrones in terms of like cultural relevance. So like people were getting together, binging a season, and then just talking about this shit for weeks. Weeks. People want to get into like the music and the nostalgia. Oh my God, these kids they've got a good vibe together, and it looks like they actually are kids in this situation. Like they sell it the way they talk. Like I always say, like in that first season in particular, they talk exactly like they should for that age, where there's like a borderline emergency that's not an emergency, but everybody's elevated to 12 when like a 6 would have done. You know what I mean? Like they sound like panicked preteens. It works. And you flushed all of that away to go on these meandering storylines and do side questy shit with characters that aren't earned. Like the other thing they talked about in the documentary that I had to point out because I thought it was ridiculous. I'm not a fan of the laundromat scene with Sarah Connor, Mike's mom, blowing up Demogorgon. So Karen, they got this whole scene where the actress that's Carla Buono, I think is her name, Carla Buono, I think. She's talking about how we love female action stars, and it was important for us to get Karen Wheeler to a place that Sigourney Weaver got to in Aliens and Linda Hamilton got to in Terminator. I'm like, you named the big 2 specifically and think you're in that league? You spent the first 2 seasons doing nothing. You spent the 3rd season or wherever it was whoring after Sadie Sink's brother. You're not fit to carry either of their jocks. You think because you did that's the same evolution of character as Sarah Connor or Ellen Ripley, that all of a sudden you're qualified to smash wine bottles and cut demogorgons and then set off improvised explosives and drive? Dude, fuck off. No shot. Stop it. Just stop it. I found that offensive, actually, if you can tell. I just thought that was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think it's hot enough. I don't think it's hot enough in a dryer to set off an oxygen. I just really don't think it does.
If it broke the key, if the key was on it and it ruptured the vat, like possibly, but then it doesn't explode. It just bounces around. That's like Mythbusters did this. Right?
Mhm.
Like it would become a torpedo. It wouldn't fireball though. It's not just like in Jaws. It wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, wouldn't have
As
done
far as I
that.
understand that, right? But anyway, I'm not here to ruin Jaws because Jaws is perfect. But still, yeah, I'm going to watch the other half of that documentary, and I'll follow back. I'll get back to you about if they reveal any other interesting things. There was enough there of them trying to work through the writing process that I was like, oh, dude, they knew early on that this was going to be difficult. Committed that to film, and then aired the film of us admitting it's difficult after they gave us the thing they gave. So you guys should have just punted a year then. I don't know what to tell you. Take another year and figure it out. You had 3 to figure it out. You had time. So every time one of these assholes was like, well, we knew we were going to be short on time. We only had 16 weeks to build this set. I'm like, 16 weeks? How? You had time. You did. You had all the money in the world too. I don't know, man. I don't know. Just disappointed. But that's probably gonna be the last thing we say on Stranger Things on this channel until the animated thing comes out or spinoff gets announced or whatever.
So moving back to the AI, we were going to talk about how it is a tool for writing. As we saw that they used it for Stranger Things here, we don't know how they used it, and it's allegedly used it. I should say allegedly used it. So what would be an acceptable use in a professional manner like that, where it doesn't feel like you're just letting it do the work and like you taking the writing credit for work done by chat GPT over there or Copilot or Gronk. Oh God,
Gemini, all these
Gemini
900 things.
Scribd, they have one to help.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, I get that on Facebook a lot.
Yeah,
dude, I think the answer for me is pretty simple, right? Like AI is an effective tool for research, for organization, for storyboarding ideas, for keeping track of different like thought maps and things like that. The problem is the generative part, I think, right? Like if you shouldn't be able to just belch a 90-page treatment for something. AI for spell check and grammar, that's harsh. That's hardcore. Spell checker on steroids, also hardcore. You shouldn't be able to put in 90 pages of garbage and then have it just fix it. Like that seems weak. Or you shouldn't be able to put in a 500-word synopsis and then be like, in the style of J.J. Abrams and Alex Kurtzman, write a Star Trek Picard season 4 pilot episode. Like that's cheating. That's got to be cheating, right? Like that's all it's doing then is just raking the internet for everything else everybody's done and giving you something to pass off as original work. That seems kind of scummy.
Yeah, that it's actually close to plagiarism because all it's doing is taking stuff.
I think we're getting there. I think we're going to see legislation in our lifetime in the next like 5 years that probably scrubs a bunch of this.
Well, I mean, at what point is it plagiarism and what type is it just you use the same phrasing?
True.
Like, what if they say, let's go? Is that copyright? Because someone wrote in another script a long time ago?
I mean, that's language in common usage. But I mean, if they're going to go ahead and if I can actually feed in a prompt that says, in the style of Brandon Sanderson, write me a fantasy story that uses colors as a magic system, it's going to rake that story idea from, what was that? Was that Warbreaker?
No, that's no, that's
the one. The one.
Warbreaker uses wind. Like
I thought it had a color prismatic thing. Anyway, it's that one, right? Like at some point or another, it does abut against somebody else's work. But then I think the counter argument for that is always, but there's no new ideas anyway. So isn't AI just doing what you two idiots do anyway? You're inspired by the 80s and 90s shit you grew up on, and you write your own new thing with a fresh spin. Like, is that not what generative AI does, just with a bigger net to cast and quicker? And I'm like, I guess, I don't know. It still feels cheating to me, though. It does. It does.
Yeah. If it writes every word for you, I can see where it's like, here, I wrote this phrase. Is there a way you to find different words for this? I use it as a thesaurus.
Right. See, but that's what the guys in the chat, and good call on that, guys. I think that's probably a fair way to look at it. They're both saying a spell check on steroids, and I get that. I think that if you guys haven't used it to organize thoughts that you've had, the King and I both have there, and we can keep documents organized and do exactly like what he was saying earlier, where if I'm through a manuscript and I'm on chapter 28, it can quickly reference the previous 27 chapters to make sure I've kept my naming conventions the same to make sure that people are in the last place that I left them and they haven't magically teleported somewhere else. That if I named the magic sword X in the first chapter, that it doesn't magically change names by the finale when the hero's putting it away. Like there are some uses to it. I find name generation super good for it too.
Name generation, remembering river names. That's the one
That's what I mean. Like there are some uses, but again, I give it the same criticism that I would give music. Like we've been ripping on like auto tune for how many years now? 30?
Auto tune and sampling.
That's what I mean. Like sampling's a big one. Sampling sampling were reboot quills before reboot quills were reboot quills. You know what I mean?
Remember
right.
the interview with Vanilla Ice. He was like, no,
ding,
it's
ding,
completely
ding,
different.
ding,
It's
ding.
ding, 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 ding. See, ours is different. There's a ding, 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 ding. And mine is ding, 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 ding.
And that's why you almost got thrown off that balcony. Like,
yeah,
it's right there. You know.
But we don't talk about Suge Knight.
We don't. Lunar Wilson is not affiliated with nor in opposition of anything Suge Knight related. Yeah, I think that where the AI is going to get interesting, because we've seen this now in like the last week. I don't know, maybe you haven't. I've seen a bunch of it though. A lot of Star Wars stuff out there right now with AI and people using these fledgling AI video generator things to do fan-made, very short films, if you call them that, 5 to 7 minutes. But it's like, what if Luke intervened in The Mandalorian in a different episode and it rips a scene and it does a thing and it looks like young Mark Hamill and the voice is synced like it's an Xbox 360 game. So it's not perfect, but people are putting some interesting ideas to it. They're starting to take concepts from like EU and putting them into an AI prompt and getting you scenes from the real Thrawn, the real heir to the Empire. And as this technology becomes more affordable and able to produce 60, 70, 80, 110-minute films, what then? Like, what happens then?
Yeah, you'll have a lot of legal battles. Like that's one area that will always have jobs. Yeah. After this, it would be the
we need to go to law school. We need to shift the focus and go to law school.
That's right. Yeah. Become entertainment lawyers.
Pape says, watch more, so they think Disney was shot down like Paramount to attract. I was just mentioning that one to King, I think like a stream or two ago. It's the famous, there's one famous Trek fan film, like Axamars. I cannot remember the name. Robert Meyer Burnett's always talking about it on his channel. It was massively crowdfunded. It was a massive undertaking. It looked like real Trek. It was great from what I heard, right? And absolutely the network, CBS or Axanar. Thank you. An Axar. Whatever Pape's right there. That's the one. I knew it started with an A. They shut that down in a hot minute. But I know that their perceptions on these things have changed a little bit, because if you go over to Star Wars Theories channel, my dude's been working on like Vader fan films for like 2 years. He's got like a second one coming out. And I think he has an agreement in principle with Disney that as long as he doesn't monetize it in any way, he's free to use the IP to create that film, because they understand the reach of social media now. They understand the reach of I hate the word influencers that have 5 million subs. If he can put out a 15-minute Vader fan film, all it does is make people go to Disney Plus and look up other shit about Star Wars. It does. It's a fact. I think they could get away with that.
Yeah, you still have people who it was like the one we saw here recently, the Friday the 13th one. Don't Hike Alone.
I gotta go find that. I still haven't found that, by the way. I need to find that.
There's a Don't Hike Alone Final Cut 1 and Don't Hike Alone 2, which is a Friday the 13th fan film that's non-monetized. That's on YouTube.
And it looks amazing. And you can tell from the quick bits that we saw that it was put together by people that really love the franchise. They really love the Jason Voorhees mythology, and they just put some like care into the fucking product, in a way that I feel like the studio has long since passed off as being inconvenient, which is sad, which is a sad take.
But mostly with the AI, I think if you use it as a tool instead of in place of, I think that's where it is. Like help you like, all right, how would a zero cell power system work? Like how does it actually work? And then they could break it down, like explain to me like I'm a third grader, break down a 0 point. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's how it works. So it could give you that, or to bounce ideas also, especially if you're in the voice mode and you can sit there to talk to it, and then it will shoot something back, and then what about this, and then it will shoot something back, and so
it's solid.
It can be a good tool to use for the creative sphere, and then you have all those notes later that you can go back to reference, and now you can even search. They've added new functionality with the 5.2 version where you can search your other chats to find these different parts.
I've been doing that a little bit with the project I'm currently on, which has been wildly helpful, is that I'll have a separate chat for story, for characters, for settings, for magic system, or whichever I'm working on. And like you said, now I can reference that all. I can blab till I'm blue in the face and then say, compile everything into a single document that has to do with this character. And boom, PDF ready to go. And bam, I print that out. It goes right in the binder and I'm good to go. I now have a functional story Bible in what might have taken me days to sort through my own cribbed out handwritten mess 5 years ago. So I think, and I'm in the habit of making a bunch of Excel docs now too. I'll be like, hey, I need 10 side characters that I know are going to be in this guild or whatever. I need a name column, a specialty column, a rank column, and bam, boom, boom, and then I fill it in. It's that simple, and it used to take me days to do that. So I do find some use there, but again, I don't sit there and go, I need an act 3 subplot to bang out on the way to the finale. Like, that's cheating. That's legitimately cheating, and at some point or another, it's going to be scary when AI writing gets good enough to pass that off as being completely coherent and not identifiable as AI. Right now, there's still some tells. I think there's still some tells, but we'll see. If it gets better, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Which I saw a lot of people talked about, like where you have ChatGPT write out the first draft, and then you take that first draft and then go to Scrib and then run that to take it through.
Scum. No, not for me. Can't do it, dude. I derive too much enjoyment from the initial conceptualizing phase of what we write, right through the process, even the parts that suck, even the parts that make you want to give up on the book. And then you get to the ending, and then you're like, yay, I did it. And you're like, fuck it, now I got to edit and revise. And then you finish that, and you're like, oh, fuck it, now I got to do round 3. Oh, dude, I enjoy it too much to have it cheap. But it's going to turn into a hyper-level, mass-produced bit of media, and it's probably going to be terrible when it happens that way. So I'll be on the lookout for the first person that's smart enough to brand their own work 100% human produced. You know what I mean? Like, at that point, I think we're gonna have to, like, how we measure organic produce, like, or how we label organic produce, we're gonna need that for entertainment. I think that's where we're probably heading.
No one checks. Why don't you put the sticker on it? That's all that matters.
I want the sticker. Just give me the sticker, though. You know, if the arsenic might still be in it, just give me the sticker. I'll take it.
Oh, all right. Well, for everyone who's still here, we got a poll question for you today.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and drop this into the chat. I believe our question is, how is your New Year's resolution going? It's a new year. We're 2 weeks in. So how far is it gone so well? And our options are going strong, not so great, gave them up, and what's the resolution? New Year.
Most of these are supposedly dead by like January 9th, right? So we're well past the sell by date on resolutions for sure.
Yeah, I moved my New Year's resolution to 4K. Last year was 1080p. I upgraded to 4K.
There it is. My New Year's resolution was to probably not have any, because I'll probably vote New Year same me. Second Friday in January is Quitters Day. Oh, there we go. What's that this week?
Tomorrow. That's why you never go to the gym the first 2 weeks of a new year.
Oh, second Friday this year was January 9th. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So maybe that's just this year just happened to be January 9th, but it's the second Friday, 2 weeks. Got it. We'll see how everybody else is doing in the poll as we move along. What do we got next, dude? This is kind of your show today. You're gonna direct traffic here.
Let's hit some of this news that we've picked up over the airwaves as we've been scouring the internet to bring you the latest and greatest here on FrostCast. And the big one that came out that I saw was K-pop Demon Hunter has been greenlit for a second movie, but they said do not expect it until after 2029.
Sorry, it sounded like you said after 2029.
Yes, I did.
Ouch. But caveat, probably good. It's only 3 years. Animated stuff takes a little. How we were just talking about Spider-Verse last week. Like, how long did it take between movies there? We're still waiting on the third one. They need 10 new songs. That way 7 of them are certifiable bangers like they got from movie 1. If it's the same writer director duo, there was a Korean woman that had the initial idea, right? She was the writer of it, and then she paired, I think, with her husband or somebody else to get the whole thing done. I can't remember.
Yeah,
and she's got another good story. Good.
Yeah, and it was the original the 3 singers who's actually been touring. They're the ones who let everyone know that they've been told that there will be a 2. So
okay, well, we're planning for a 2. It's greenlit. Well, that doesn't mean anything in terms of it being done. Not 2029, after 2029. Pape's correcting. Oof, ouch. But still, it's again, dude. It's animated and there's music involved. I don't need either of those dimensions of the film rushed in any way, shape, or form.
And that way you don't like
don't
recycle jokes, recycle songs, recycle story beats.
And that's the thing. They covered a good amount of surface level story beats in the first one. Like, it wasn't just Rumi's half demon. Like, the group falls apart. They explored on a surface level the other girls' defining insecurities, things like that. They talked about the Han Moon. So I get they've covered a lot of ground. They legitimately will need to conceive of a new threat that they need to deal with. And you're right, dude. It can't just be Rumi going back to the drawing board like she's living as who she is now. She's out, to borrow a phrase. South Park does a 22 episode a week using 15 frames a second and no original music in almost all of the episodes, though.
And the animation is not on par with K-pop.
Right, dude. It's us cutting shapes out of paper, and there's like 7. They use the primary colors. That's it, and like digital explosions. I remember when they started that. They started actually using like real explosions on it. That shit was fun. But yeah, a little different, Pape. Warden Prime, I think, that might have gone a little off the rails on that one. It's all good. Yeah, I'm just saying I want another one. I don't want it to be rushed because I don't want this to be a Stranger Things situation. I don't want a second movie that bites off way more than it can chew and then a bunch of fatty, bloated follow-up crap that makes me not... Dude, you Pape, you good. Dude, you've had as much fun as you want, bro. You've earned it. That drives my affection for the first season of the first movie into the ground.
Yeah.
That would be my concern with a rushed second movie.
Yeah, we see that too many times with some of these animated ones. They try or comedies or pretty much anything. If they rush the sequel, it's never really as good as the original. They're just trying to grab that money. Now that knowing that they're taking their time, we know it's not a cash grab movie coming out.
True. So green lights are good. Hopefully they can they get the money down the stretch and actually move into pre-production and getting things done. Sony famously did not want to do a whole lot with this particular product. And that's how it ended up on Netflix. So maybe they'll see the $1 billion success that it should have been and think twice about that.
Release it in theaters.
Saying, see how that whole deal goes down. And Netflix and Paramount thing's not over.
So talking about release in theaters, I think it's been a few years now that we've seen a Star Wars inside the main universe movie.
2019.
Yeah, that's been a few years. And in that was the Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Palpatine, but whatever.
That had no Skywalker in it.
Nope.
So
Leia was in it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Was it the real Leia though, or was it CGI Leia?
Some of it was unused footage that they ADR'd over, is what I was always told.
Okay.
So I don't know. But anyway.
But there was a moment that didn't happen, and Mark Hamill has finally come out and said that he brought it up, like, this is what we need to do. It could be 15 seconds, but this is what we need to do. And they're like, Mark, not everything has to be Star Wars.
Specifically, right? He said it to Abrams, who told him specifically, it's not Luke's story anymore, and not everything is about Skywalkers. That son of a bitch. Dude, Hamill's a nut, and he's kind of a scumbag in a lot of ways. Right? But he's been consistently right on this point since the press tours for TLJ. Consistently correct. That you had, again, just like the Duffer Brothers, you had to know. You had to know what people wanted. People told you what they wanted. The reaction to TFA was enough to tell you what people wanted. People were hyped, like, oh, we got some new characters. It looks super familiar, so I feel like I'm right back in there. So fantastic. And, okay, so our heroes are in different places. They're older. They're doing different things. Fine. We want more Luke. Why do we wait till the end of the movie to turn R2-D2 on and see Luke throw, he didn't throw the saber yet, but like to appear? It's like they told you. They fucking told you what they wanted. And you're like, we know better. We're cool. We can do the other thing. We're gonna do the thing. We're gonna subvert your expectations. That's where the expression came from. That stupid son of a bitch. And Hamill's out there now. He's not even quiet about it anymore now. But I thought the saddest thing about that clip you're referring to was the response. Like, people laughed over him while he was saying that, and I'm like, dude, like, I kind of feel bad for this guy. Like, his whole world, his whole life defined by that guy, that character, despite all the other shit he's done. He's the voice of the Joker, and he was in Incredibles too, wasn't he? The voice of the villain in Incredibles and a bunch of other shit. Like, he's a fairly prolific voice actor.
He has a very long list of stuff that he's
got a resume. Yeah, for sure. He's got a resume.
He was the king of the Fire Nation in Avatar.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, my man's been around. He's done some things. He's earned the respect. And like the question that had been posed to him in that clip was, if you could work with any actor, living or dead, but it can't be anybody at this table, like, who would it be? And he flat out was like, dude, Harrison Ford, because we never got the big three back together in that moment to raise the roof for 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like, dude was not wrong. Dude fundamentally understood what people wanted there. And I'm like, in a lot of ways, it's kind of the opposite of what I saw in that Stranger Things documentary, where the Duffer Brothers were continually deferring to what the actors wanted to do in certain micro situations. Like, hey, well, Natalie, what do you think you should be doing at this particular moment? Like, while this is happening, like, there was a lot of that kind of back and forth. And I'm like, maybe it was trivial, but it seemed like it worked in most of those places for those guys. You would think that if you've got the guy, the main guy, he's still alive, and the other two for the big three are still alive, you could put them all in a room. Like, they just weren't in pre-production, put in the same room, be like, what do you guys want to do? What are you up for? The fucking hubris, dude, to quote Picard, the sheer fucking hubris. Like, how do you get away with that with a decades old thing that just prints cash on the line? Because now you don't print cash. The machine's toast, dude. It's over. It's just sad. The only thing more deader than that is probably Trek, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Pape says that was a cinematic. Dude, there's two expressions that touch on that. That yours right there is perfectly right on. Not reuniting the big three was a massive fail. Not putting Art and Chewie. Fact. We put that right there. Big four, fearsome foursome, and then R2 and C3PO. Pathetic to not get that done. But the other line I'll never forget. I remember it was a year ago, 2 years ago now, Chris Gore from Film Threat, and I'm referencing a lot of Channel Sniper because I feel like they're all spot fucking on to what we're talking about, said the most expensive mistake in Hollywood history will go down as turning Star Wars from a boy brand into a girl brand. They're never going to live that down. They're never going to dig their way out of that hole. Ever. It's over. Like, it's a done deal. There's no recovering from that now. Like, the old fans are gone, the new fans didn't exist, and anybody left is seriously just munching popcorn and not really giving a fuck about what they're actually watching. I believe that firmly. I really do. Speaking of that,
I sent you over a reel today that covered a lot of this, talking about like they missed their mark when it came to The Mandalorian. They could have had a series that ran practically forever if it was just ran like how Star Wars The Next Generation was ran, where it was like a monster of the week. Star Trek The Next Generation.
Serialized. Serialized missions.
It could be like serialized missions, him and Grogu running around, and it could be just like that. Because a lot of people don't realize The Next Generation had 185 episodes. Even Star Trek Voyager, which is a lot of people refer to as a lesser show, had 166 episodes.
Yeah, dude. Enterprise ran for 5 fucking seasons, dude. Like, you can get away with it. Streaming is I'll give them this. Streaming is a little different. They can't do because they don't film on the fly. So when Trek makes a couple, they do that weekly episode. They can say, oh, well, the King Z character really hasn't grabbed anybody for these 3 episodes. We're just going to either trapdoor him, get him out of there. We're going to kill him off. We're going to do whatever and move on to something else. Oh, this subplot where Winterwolf is going to, try to find his grandmother's hidden recipe for lasagna. Nobody's latching onto that. Fuck it. We're not going to do that anymore. Streaming, it's like with Wednesday season 2. Like if they have to commit to the bit. So if they've got a couple of subplots or a couple of characters that end up not being popular, there's no course correction they can do except next season. If you get. So it is tough. I'll give them that. But all that says to me is you should probably plan shit out a little bit more effectively ahead of time. Put the feelers out there ahead of time. Be on top of trends ahead of time and tastes and preferences ahead of time. And we really the 80s nostalgia thing, that's starting to go now. We probably don't need to buy into that. Like, let's find the next thing. You know what I mean? There's just moves you have to make when you're in charge of these projects to keep you ahead of the game. And they don't do that, dude. They just don't.
No.
So for Mando, like you were saying, for Mando, I could have done an easy 5 seasons of that show. Grogu could have been gone at the end of season 1, delivered safely to Luke or whatever, however they wanted to do it. And then again, he's just got a new thing he has to do. A new mission of the week. And if you want to have a big arc behind it, fine. Trek always had that, especially in TNG.
Most of today's shows have that, the 22 episode runs. Criminal Minds always had a bigger arc that was behind the weekly killer of the week.
But it has to be compelling. And you know what compelling isn't? Compelling isn't trying to bait and switch me halfway through Mando season 2 into me already starting to accept that it's going to be the Bo-Katan show and then selling on that wholly in season 3 and then watching you morons scratch your heads like, why is nobody watching our fucking Muppet Baby Pirate Captain show Mando season 3? Dude, even you didn't like that season, dude. That tells me
season 3 was bad, especially with the
bad, dude.
Lizzo in space.
Dude, Lizzo Jack Black episode, all-time bad, dude.
Nothing against Jack Black. He was still good in that episode
because he was his own goofy self. But you know what? Tonally, it's out of place. It just doesn't work. It's not a hardcore. It's not supposed to be a sitcom.
And that episode had Christopher Lloyd in it as well.
It had Christopher fucking Lloyd in this, and that was it. And it's not even like Lizzo being there was like offensive as a character. It was just like she was just a princess. She didn't do anything stupid in the show that I recall. It was just you're Lizzo being Lizzo. You're Jack Black being Jack Black. Like, it's enough. Oh, dude, it was because it just felt like nothing belonged in it at all. But you were talking about films though, so maybe you were going to mention Mando and Grogu.
Yep, that's where I was going to next.
Shoot,
yeah. We have how was it written? Mando and Grogu, 4 changes from the show.
Oh yeah, that was from an article I pulled from the Direct. Dude, I didn't realize that Direct article was from December, but it brings up a bunch of kind of key things that they're probably going to rub people the wrong way. And a couple of the ones that are on the 4, a couple of them were kind of non-controversies, but apparently he's getting the Razor Crest back. Like, they're just going to forget the fact that it was destroyed, and like he ended up with the Naboo fighter. I'm like, okay, but how? Because there weren't a whole lot of those ships left, and he just happens to have another one. Okay. And the other one, they were kind of smaller than I thought when I got into it. It must have been right. He managed to extract, and it was he's all good.
Yeah.
And then they're dropping, and this was kind of a stupid article. Somehow the Razor Crest returned. Nailed it. End of topic. A couple of the other ones are just smaller rent things, like it's not going to follow the serial format. Like, what's a movie, so it can't. I thought the more concerning thing is like this, the official synopsis of it now is written by them. It mentions that Din Djarin, no longer a bounty hunter, must contend with pesky leftover Imperial warlords, and takes a job doing a thing for an unlikely ally. And I'm like, I don't even like this synopsis for this movie now. Like, I get it. It's going to be like The Muppet Show with Din Djarin and Pedro Pascal, who's apparently box office poison now because my man hasn't sort of hit like all year despite being in 5 things. And this movie comes out in May, right? Is this not a May movie for this year? Dude, we've just had 5 fucking teaser trailers for Doomsday comes out next December, right? Where's my Mando and where's Mando and Grogu shit? Where? Why is there nothing? Why are we not 3 teasers in? Why are we not a full trailer in? Dude, because it's gonna bomb. It's gonna bomb.
From what I was hearing, where someone had access to classified Grogu and Mando stuff, is that
Wolfson is not held liable. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Allegedly,
There we are.
He gets hired by the New Republic to hunt down Imperial warlords that are causing trouble in the galaxy.
So, but then write it like that. You can't put out an official synopsis that makes it legit sound like a rated G situation. Like it or not, Andor is the best thing they've done, and Andor is rated R. And you know what? It earned the R. It didn't go over the top. It's not gratuitous. Fine. You strip a little bit of language, you can get it down to a safe PG-13, which all the original trilogy was, and everybody fucking liked it. You don't need to make the whole thing the Ewoks. You just don't. It's gonna bomb if they go down that road. I promise you, that's gonna happen.
Oh, they gotta find new toys to sell.
Dude, was there any lack of Star Wars toys when we were a kid with PG-13 OT? Nope. You know what I mean? There was a 55 character set of figurines that I had in a Death Star case, in a Millennium Falcon case. You know what I mean? Like they're not hurting for toys at the PG-13. You're hurting for toys when nobody wants to play with your shit because it's stupid. And that's kind of the route they're going. I find their lack of faith disturbing in those teaser trailers now that I think of it. You know, May, dude, it comes out in May. That's literally like 4 months out.
Yeah.
5 months out, you know? Where's anything? Does this get, is it too late to punt? Is that a thing? Can they punt still? Or it's probably locked in, right?
Well, I think they can still change dates. Even, I mean, we saw that with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was locked in, and then they punted to the next year.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
They can always give up their dates.
True.
That's why we saw when we were doing our research for last week's, which you should check it out because it highlights some of the movies that are coming out this year.
It's a good hype list. There's some decent shit on there.
I saw 2 different untitled Disney projects just on the calendar, and it's because they want to hold those spots.
100%. They're just marking territory. 100% on those. But if you're Disney at this point, and you're Star Wars in particular, how do you punt now? Because the only other time any of your stuff ever comes out is December. Do you really want to take Mando and Grogu against an Avengers film? Whatever we can.
You're competing against yourself for money,
and then there's that. I forgot all about that. You're burying yourself at that point.
Yeah, you're stealing money out of your own pocket at that point. And
you punt October? I don't know.
If they did punt to December with Mando and Grogu, I would move Dune to that date.
Move Dune up to May 26th. Yeah. Sick move. Sick. Unless, of course, Doomsday is not done. It's probably not. And they're going to be working on that, like you said, on Rise of Skywalker, right up until literally you go into the movie theater and they beep your phone and you take your seat. That's still being done. We're still loading. It's still uploading.
Yeah. It's a live stream at this point.
Right. It's going to have the countdown. It's going to hit you with the music. It'd be funny. I would take that. I would absolutely take that. But yeah, dude, I mean, what even is your hype level after Mando season 3 for this? But we have nothing to go on. Like, there's not even been 3 teaser trailers for you to try to sell me like you do. You're like, I don't know, man. They might be back. They might actually be back. What do we have?
Based on what I've heard, once again, we're going to go back to that synopsis I told you where he gets hired by the New Republic to hunt it down.
I think that's known. I think
they're going to bring in the Rangers that they were supposed to use. Remember the fighter guy that they had, and then the pink guy. He's going to join them, who's actually from Rebels. Yep. So I think
Gina Carano's character was going to be in that.
Yeah, he's going to build like his own Star Wars Avengers team, and they're going to go take on these warlords.
Pape says hype level, it's so high I canceled Disney Plus. I've been calling it D- for a while. I got to get back to that. That's only that I think that's the backdrop for the movie. I think the official plot is still the bit where he has to rescue the son of one of the Hutts. I think that's pretty much locked in. But again, I don't know if I care about any of that. And like Pape said, dude, like I didn't cancel Disney Plus. There's enough other crap on there that my kids do enjoy. Some of the classic stuff is still very much worth watching because it hasn't been
I don't
yet.
pay for it, but I still have it.
Right. I still give them a little bit of money, regrettably. But I don't care anymore. And I haven't cared since Luke took Grogu at the end of season 2. Like that was an epic scene that could have redefined, that almost redefined Star Wars back into like the plus, back into the black, and pull it out of the nosedive that it had been heading in. It broke the internet when that X-Wing showed up. Broke. And then it set it on fire when he stormed the hallway. And here we are. Like now nobody cares. We've seen him digitally inserted into 2 really crappy episodes of Boba Fett, the show that shouldn't have been. That was hard. Dude, go back and watch that, by the way. I could do a revisit on that if you want to watch that sometime.
And that's where this guy that I was talking about at the beginning of this, when we're talking about like how it could have been episodic. What he was saying is that they're shooting themselves in the foot because they have a long running show, but no, they have to tie it back into Luke Skywalker, and that only happened because they have to tie it into Boba Fett, which that only happened to tie it back to this show, where you have to tie it back to this show over here just so you can make money.
Well, they had to tie that stuff into Boba Fett because that show was so bad that they had to take 2 episodes of Mandalorian season 2 and cram it into the middle of Boba Fett because that show was ass. Dude, I don't know how you don't write a rated R version of Boba Fett that doesn't slap. Let him be the kind of ruthless bounty hunter that the Mandalorian isn't on that show. If you want it to be geared to be more family friendly, you just have this dude be a straight up assassin. Like, how hard would that be? You don't have to get Tamora Morrison. I love the guy from the original, from the prequel trilogy, but maybe you get a guy that's super fit in his 20s or in his late 20s, early 30s, something like that, and just have him wreck shit up John Wick style in a Star Wars universe.
Or you could do Boba Fett versus Mando, as they have their 2 different philosophies, like Punisher versus Daredevil.
Dude, imagine that kind of story in the hands of people with some kind of skill. By any means necessary versus with the least amount of damage done. You know what I mean? Imagine that. But no, you got Tamora Morrison being too big for the armor. Like, dude, just build him bigger shit. Like, why are you trying to cram him into the shit he wore in 2004?
Because they didn't get him the breastplate stretcher.
Yeah, I'm saying, dude, he needed the corset. That's what he needed. The other thing. And no, he needed the stretcher. That's right. The stretcher that Robert Baratheon used.
Exactly. There you go.
I know what you're doing. I seen you. Dude, there was a story to be told there. Dude, Book of Boba Fett, I shit you not, dude. Now I might have to have you go back and watch that. There's an episode he's in for the entire thing and present his normal amount of time. So it's not like he's AFK off screen and not being shown. He's in there the regular amount of time his character's present and speaks 1 line of dialogue. 1. On his show, because his little sidekick Fennec Shand or whatever her name was is the badass on the show by that point. And I'm like, you did the thing. You did like the 2020 MCU thing on Star Wars. That's where these jokes started coming from in that era. Now we're 5 years out.
Which she was in an MCU show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
She was awesome on that show, and it's not her fault. No. It's the shit they gave her. It's the shit story that they decided to write. But Boba Fett taking over in the absence of Jabba on Tatooine as a syndicate boss is a fine idea. That, dude, you could do that. That works. If you didn't want to do the procedural week-to-week serial thing like we just said we would have Mando do. Dude, put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. Exactly. Pape knows. Y'all know. They did the thing. That's why South Park did that. This is the era. That's the era they were in, man. Or something dark side.
Yeah, something dark side.
See, that the parody would have been better at that point. Dude, Book of Boba Fett, dude, is the same. All this shit already happened. It's the same series that introduced the Skittles Squad, the bunch of Zoomers on fucking super powered Vespa bikes in the lowest high speed chase of all time. You get that? They used hover rounds on a low speed chase to chase them out of Tatooine's like fucking back alleys. Ridiculous. They were like space greasers. It was like they went down to Thunder Road in Greece and ran their Vespa bikes at a low speed so nobody got hurt. Like, what the fuck? That was
Well,
Book of Boba Fett, dude.
We also had Ahsoka, where she was in the first 5 minutes of an episode and then never seen her again in that whole episode.
Well, in her defense, she was drowning or in the veil.
No, they were traveling through space and she was listening to a story.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Dude, effing space. Good dude. Pape, did you see this show? You just quote me just now in my moment of insanity because it was that bad, dude. That show almost broke me in a way that like She-Hulk wishes that it could have broke me. Speaking of She-Hulk, you see that she's out?
Yeah, they fired her.
Out
yeah, they kicked her off set.
Yeah, deuces, and nothing of value was lost. Not a damn thing.
Lose nothing. But going back to that,
dude, you watched Book of Boba Fett 3 times, dude. Why did you do that? Dude, you gotta.
We might have to take the wrench away for that one.
King, you gotta cue up the clip from Billy Madison, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Your soul, yeah.
We're all done for having heard you say that. Right, no points. We need to have that clip on standby with the fraud alert button, which a great idea, by the way. We need that. We do need the fraud alert button. We got to work on that. And we had the Oracle do the plot for the SpongeBob thing. We need these other 2 things. I think we need those. But all right, what else do we got? We're over an hour, but I'm good. We do.
I just wanted to go back to that guy's point where he was talking about like the reason why Star Wars worked is because George Lucas went to what he knew. Buck Rogers, Westerns, World War II fighting, and that's what made
Pulp
Star
Fiction
Wars
novels and stuff
and
from his
now
childhood.
The writers who are in like writing for Star Wars is trying to draw from their influences, but then they have to like shoehorn in like Star Wars lore and stuff like that because they're stuck. Like writers can't be original because they're not allowed to anymore. To a degree. Because they can't really look at stuff and like, oh, well, let's take Star Wars and let's take the Desert Storm and let's make a movie that has nothing to do with Star Wars or that, but that's kind of like the influences.
Dude, but I feel like you and I could absolutely do Star Wars Black Hawk Down in a weekend. We could get a treatment out in a weekend for that concept. It's doable when you understand the subject matter. When you understand a significant portion of the lore or the history of the real world event. Like that one project you had pitched back in the day that was inspired by the Bataan Death March. That story someday when you write it will absolutely work because you're a history guy and you know what the implications of that event. You know the human suffering that went into it. You can absolutely graft on your particular style of military thriller or sci-fi onto that and it will work. You know what I mean? I think these clowns that are up in there now, they're not even motivated by either of those things. They're motivated by the political thing that they want to say first, and then they insert it into something they believe will be an effective vessel for putting that message out there. And then on top of that, they might not be allowed to creatively deviate from the notes they're given. It's a bunch of a lot of things that make things stuck. But you're right; they don't have the frame. They don't have the frame of reference of any of the classics. They're not taught the hero's journey anymore. They're not taught any of those things that create the foundation of effective storytelling.
The redemption road,
right? Exactly. They're not taught any of that stuff, and that's like and on top of that, they don't have the attention span for any of that kind of stuff now either. You think it's going to be easy for a Zoomer to write a 90-minute feature film when the average attention span of these kids is like 6 minutes? No, dude, movies are in trouble going forward that way. Which is, dude, that's why maybe bring on the AI. Maybe bring on the AI, man. You know, in the style of George Lucas, give me an effective heir to the throne trilogy, heir to the Empire trilogy. Yeah.
Heir to the throne.
Might be time. Heir to the throne. What was it? Ape was talking about Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, I don't know. Might be a throne there somewhere. The Iron. We're talking about Game of Thrones. Talking about a lot of stuff. What else we got?
All right. So wrapping into the last part of it, and I think this is where we should do these from now on. Our trailers at the end. Trailer homage.
Yeah. Let's do
time. So here we go with our first one. We got 2 trailers for you tonight of upcoming, I think one's a movie and one's a show. So the first one, we're going to do the movie. It's Lee Corrigan's The Mummy.
Cronin, I think was.
Cronin's. Yeah, Cronin's The Mummy by Blumhouse. Uh-oh.
From the studio that brought me EPN. Oh, weapons. Never mind.
So I guess it's going slow on mine too.
This has been happening lately. What's going on here?
Yeah, because it ran perfect when I uploaded it.
James Wan style. Between cameras and modern attire, we got a modern mummy story. And jump there.
April 17th.
Through the broken trailer we had. Okay. I mean, it's dark, but that modern because we saw Canon cameras, so it's obviously not like a throwback, like a Brendan Fraser time frame kind of
Yeah,
deal.
going back to like when they were still excavating the pyramids and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
more
that was,
like
that
that
was what,
Tom
30 seconds?
Cruise mummy time frame.
Oh, dude, no, we don't talk about that here. We don't talk about the dark universe. 30-second teaser. I'll watch it on my own at a speed that isn't glitchy. I don't know what that is lately with our trailers, man. It's weird when we try to do them live. They don't seem to crank. Maybe I'll have to move that to a separate video off the live stream altogether, which is disappointing. What did you think of that? What we could see?
What we could see, it looks like it's pretty good. I like the question, what happened to Kate? Then it looks like she's been mummified, like the beginning of the mummification process. Mm-hmm. Which, like, did you know they would take your brain out by using the two wooden things, and then they would throw it away because they didn't know what it was used for? Mm-hmm. All the other organs went into their nice little jars and everything, but the brain was thrown away because they didn't know what it was used for.
I did not know that. Yeah. I knew how they did it. I don't know that they did.
I watched this. They had this whole animated film that talked like the history of it, but then it would cut to like an animated portion of like when them building it and stuff like that. I had watched it had one on pyramids, had one on cathedrals. So I remember they were talking about it.
Solid.
They left the heart in the body when they mummified it, because I believe that's where the soul was kept, was in the heart.
I didn't know that. Cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
We learn something every day on this channel. Appreciate that. I'll keep an eye out for that. I'm always down for anything that's dark like that. I'm in for. And if it's from the studio that brought you weapons, it looks like that was the thing, because weapons, the brilliance of the marketing there was that one trailer they gave you over and over was at 2:17 a.m. All the children from this classroom got up and left. So now what happened to Kate, whatever her name is, with just enough creepy imagery to be in there, with no obvious jump scares that I saw in the weirdo version that we had. That's a pretty good start for a teaser. Right, yep. What do we got next?
All right, next is a series. It's a season 2 from good old Apple TV with the Monarch, Legends of the Monsters.
Let's take a peek. I know this is a you show.
The world has changed.
This one's running good.
Something's happening.
This is not calm.
And it's not Godzilla.
This is something bigger.
Bigger?
He opened the rift to another world.
Oh. Okay.
We made a mistake.
There's a Pacific Rim shit going on here now. Season 1?
I don't think I finished season 1. I think I meant to, but I just never did. I was traveling and stuff like that. I had stuff
What's
going on.
next?
It has been a while. That's right.
Consequences.
Release the Kraken. Cool, I'll just move inland. Problem solved. Oh, February, all right.
Yeah, February 27th, I saw was the date. It's a very special day. Should be a national holiday.
Oh, snap. Okay.
So, but it looks good. I mean, what I saw of the first one, like it was more of the building part of it, of this one. Now, if you don't know who Monarch is the undercover agency that tracks monsters. The first one that they tracked was Godzilla. Second one they tracked was King Kong. You kept seeing that played out through that where they had the whole Monarch type series going on with, what was that first one? It was like Godzilla, King of the Monsters, that whole trilogy.
Oh, yeah. And then Godzilla X Kong or whatever the second one was.
And now they have like Kong versus Godzilla, and now they're fighting common enemies, and they killed Mech Godzilla.
They did get Mecha Godzilla in the last one. The movies haven't really hit for me in a big way.
I think after Godzilla King of Monsters, it kind of really fell off.
Yeah. Like I watched them fight on the deck of an aircraft carrier, and the entire time my brain's doing like calculations on like weight and displacement. And I'm like,
it was still a cool scene though. It was a cool scene. For sure. Sometimes you just have to do what's cool.
Yeah, I did. Most of the time you need to do what's cool. But the more absurd it is, it still works if it's giant kaijus fighting on the deck of an aircraft carrier.
Yeah. Now, I forgot what I was trying to say there. I had a when I was watching it, I was thinking more of Rampage than anything else. That game where you would jump on the buildings and
which is a classic. Now, Pape brings up a good reminder there because I had forgotten about that. Waiting on Godzilla -0 in November. -1 is a banger movie.
Yeah, it is so good.
Banger movie.
And I think watching it in black and white and reading it and not have the dub version, I think it makes it so much better.
Dude, I also made the regrettable decision of going to see that in a theater that had the rumble chair hooked up. Not a good call, because that first roar he lets out when he destroys the Japanese island outpost. Death. Back hurt. Seat beat the crap out of me, dude.
And I think that was one of the
not okay.
Better breath weapons that Godzilla's had.
Oh, yeah.
That I've seen in any of his movies, where it's like that delayed explosion instead of just a straight energy beam.
It works up his spine.
Yeah.
Blam. Sick. Yeah, it was nasty. And he was mean. Dude, he was scary looking at the beginning in that black and white, staring right down at the camera. Like, when he was
Baby Zilla. Even when he was Baby Zilla was pretty scary there.
Yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, I love pointing out that they made that entire movie on like 1/30th or whatever it was, the budget of like a typical like MCU movie of the time. And I'm like, case in point example, guys. Case in point example.
They told a great story with it.
Oh, dude,
and Godzilla was only in like 15% of the movie too.
Because it was a story about the dude and his daughter and, getting his shit back together, moving on from the tragedy and such. And it worked. It was a bit melodramatic, but that's, I'm told that's how Japanese cinema works. It is a little bit more melodramatic than the West can be in certain spots. But dude, I can't do a good call, Pape. I'm 100% down for -0. Dude, I don't know. Maybe we go back and take a look at it's in February, so that's right around the corner in our busy part of the year. So I don't know if I can probably cram in another series to like get Monarch season 1 out of the way, but maybe I'd be.
We got a jam-packed year.
Yeah, we get, but it's 10 to 15 mil. That's right. So it's literally like a 30th of like what Avengers Doomsday.
Not even a third. That's a 10th.
No, I said 30th. Like,
30th. I thought you said a third. I'm like, no, that's like a 10th.
Math ain't that bad. That's word now, dude. It's not a 10th because we know for a fact these Marvel movies go $400 or $500 million. So it's even bigger drop off there. But yeah, dude, we got too many series coming up. It might be tough to fit that one in, but I guess
we got series and we got movies. We got it all coming this year, as well as we stay with our Wednesday programming right here on FrostCast.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon, so that'll be good. But it's getting late, and I think I am being summoned to assist with a late bedtime. So if you want to read us out of here, I will say goodnight to everybody. Pape and Oracle, thank you for being here. Izap, if you're still here, thank you. Everybody else lurking and not saying much, we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. As always, we are so happy that you join us each and every week for us just sit here and talk about movie stuff and bring you the hard-hitting news that we try to bring you in our own opinion. If you liked what we do, hit that subscribe button. Come and join us often. Hit that notification when we drop our series reviews, our
results.
And we got our polls results to give you as soon as I get done with this part. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we drop our new shows, when we preload our stream, so you don't miss us Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And with that, we will give you the poll results as I move to the chat. All right, our poll results are: how are your New Year's resolutions going? And the winner is with 60%. What are resolutions? New Year, same me. 20% got going strong, and 20% gave them up.
Listen, the 20% of going strong, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you going strong. I am.
If you want to go ahead and leave a comment on the video of what your resolution is, you're more than welcome to happen. We will be here to support you. We'll send you messages on that same post every now and then.
There we go, a little Pape strong. All right, I like it. All right, good job, Warden Prime. All right. Unless his resolution was to just keep stopping by Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern. Makes sense. That was just going to be a habit now. But all right, guys, we will catch you next week, and also with our Fallout and Percy Jackson reviews, which will be out over the next couple days.
Bye, people.
Leaders.